Hi, I'm the Naked Fairy, and today I'm having a calm day. Sometimes it's easy when we get caught up in our emotions, whether it's excitement or anxiety or everything in between. We forget that calm is a good thing. Too often we interpret calm as boring, but it's not. Not having the highs and the lows of either excitement or anxiety, not having an adrenaline rush. Well, if you're used to living with the adrenaline like I am, sometimes it can feel weird and it can feel like something's missing. And it's hard to realize. And I have to remind myself that happiness is really a calm place. It's a calm place. It's kind of like that, for me, my visualization is one of my cats sleeping in the sunshine. They're content, they're happy, but they're calm. It's not the same as when they're running around chasing and playing, and it's certainly not the same as when they're distressed. It just is. It's calm, peaceful, happy. And it's easy to lose sight of that, particularly if you've lived with PTSD and you've lived with a lot of fear and anxiety and depression. Maybe you haven't experienced a lot of that. I know that I was well into adulthood until I understand that that even place didn't necessarily mean it was a boring place or a dead zone. Now, a lot can go on in that calm place, but it's a good place. When my husband and I check in with each other, I also do it with my daughters. I'll say, "Are you okay?" or "Are we okay?" And we're not talking about any particular circumstance. It has nothing to do with any disagreements we may or may not have had. Has nothing to do with upcoming events or something that happened yesterday. Basically, it's checking in with the foundation. Personally, we each have a foundation, and our relationships have foundations. And if the foundation is solid, then it's a lot easier to make the rest of the dwelling solid. There's a lot of parables and stories in a lot of different religions about that you need a solid foundation to build on, and you do. And sometimes we're so busy dealing with the negative things, the negative feelings, the stress, the memories, that we start to think that that's all it is. But there's more to that. That you can have a calm, solid foundation that is there even in the anxiety, even in excitement. And it's a good reminder to have a calm day, to kind of check in, to know that your foundation is doing okay. Now, maybe you're not there yet, and that's okay. It really is. So I'm going to say something to you. You are more than your pain. You're more than your trauma. You're more than your anxiety. You're more than your depression. You're more than your PTSD. You are so much more than what is hurting you and what has hurt you. Sometimes that's hard to see. Sometimes I even lose sight of that. And it's hard. It's hard when you're hurting, when you're feeling the claws of anxiety, when depression is weighing you down. It's equally hard on the other end of the scale when you're excited about something or you let yourself get caught up in emotions. Or the other end of things, sometimes substances that give us that false feeling. And look, I am not going to tell you not to enjoy a drink. not to have a joint, not to indulge in that game or lose yourself in a movie or a story. We all need periods of escape. But when that starts to interfere with our functionality, when we lose sight of our foundation, when everything becomes an escape from the pain, well, that's when things need to change. And it's easy to get caught in that, whether you're using a substance or you're using some habit in your life to escape the pain. It's easy. Pain hurts. I've mentioned before that my husband's been dealing with a shoulder injury, and sometimes he'll say to me, I know you deal with this all the time, but I understand why people get addicted to pain pills. I understand why people do those things to escape the pain. And it's true. If you've been in a lot of physical pain, you understand that sometimes you'll do anything to get rid of that pain. And if you're in emotional pain, sometimes you'll do anything to escape the emotional pain. But whether it's physical or emotional, healing does take time. And you can't heal if your mind or your body is clouded over by other things. Now that doesn't mean, again, that you can't get some relief. There's a reason we have pain pills. And if you are in so much pain you can't function, you need some relief so that you can think, so that you can plan. But you need to understand that escape from pain is not happiness. It's not a true calm. And if everything is focused around just the escape from pain, well, you're kind of screwed in the long term. And sometimes that's all you know, because you've never seen calm happiness. You've never seen a solid foundation. You've never experienced it. Even if you've seen it, you didn't recognize it because it bore no relevance to where you were. I'm not sure how to convince you it's real, and I can't. It's one of those things that you have to have faith. And eventually, when it comes along, you'll have this, that's what it is. That's what it is. This is happiness. This is that firm foundation. So today I'm having a calm day, and I'm reminding myself that underneath a lot of emotions of the recent months, there's a firm foundation. I have a firm foundation that I've spent a lot of years building. Now that doesn't mean that I don't still have issues, because I certainly do. I'm still struggling with my weight, and that definitely has its roots in my emotional well-being. I'm still struggling with health issues, and again, mind and body are connected. You can't divorce them. And so you have to deal with them together, because how you feel physically affects your mood, but how your mood is also can affect your health. And it can be a tangle, and that's difficult. But once you start getting in pieces of foundation, it doesn't happen all at once, and sometimes you don't recognize it when it's happening. But once you start getting in pieces of foundation, you start to build little places where you can rest, where you can enjoy that calm, where you can lay in the sunshine and rest. Well, that's a huge milestone. If you're not there, just that little smidge of faith, a little bit more faith than the fear and the pain, that you'll get there. Believing is so much of the battle. If you don't believe you can make it, you don't ever try. And if you don't try, you won't make it. Because here's the thing. Even when you believe, even when you try, you'll have setbacks. You'll have bad days. You'll have times where it feels like you take 2 steps forward and then 3 steps back. And then you fight your way back to that original starting point and try again. But I don't want to be a motivational poster out there, but there's a lot of truth to the fact that if you don't try, you won't succeed. If you don't try to process your pain, if you don't try to take that leap of faith, well, you're going to be stuck. And nobody likes to be stuck. Oh, it seems like people do. I think people get used to being stuck. They get used to being unhappy, and they think there's nothing else, so they learn to accommodate it. But there's more. You are more than your pain. You're more than what has hurt you in the past. You're more than what's hurting you now. So if you haven't found that foundation yet, just keep filling in. Just keep finding the spots that need to be redug and refilled with something healthier, something more solid, and just keep going until you have something solid to stand on. And if you found that solid place, even if it's small, take days to recognize it, to appreciate it, to enjoy it. And that's what I'm doing today. I'm just kind of letting myself recognize that even when things feel bad, well, remember, feelings are real, but they're not reality. So wherever you are in building your foundation, in learning to stand on it, and even starting to build on it, always remember, clothing is optional, but consent is not.